there's a lot of this creek algae that's all dried up from when there was rain, and I think the last time there was rain here was probably last spring. I mean, real rain, where creek algae could grow. But I'm cleaning it off, cleaning the sand off and the rocks, and making sure all the bugs are out, and that sort of stuff. So some of these pieces are going to be really good and could be joined together into a blanket or a coat or something like that, right? And then there's other pieces that are just going to be too ragged and torn up to really make anything like that out of. So they're going to be used for a mattress. I'm going to clean them up all the same, and it doesn't matter if they're big or small or if they're ragged and torn and whatever. They all just get piled on top of one another to make a comfortable bed. This could be a blanket, this could be a mattress. It's a matter of experimenting and learning how to use it for what, whether it's insulation and clothing for the winter or inside of a blanket or whatever, or the cushioning inside of a pillow. It could be made into paper, maybe cloth. It may even be useful as a fiber for making cord. It probably wouldn't be very strong, but it could be useful basically to make yarn out of. I think also in theory you might be able to use it more easily if you get it damp, because when it's dry it may be brittle and break under your fingers, but if you get it damp it may be easier to handle if you're using it to make yarn or something out of. Creek algae, or creek moss, grows along generally slow moving creek beds that are somewhat polluted, like for example maybe from cow crap and stuff like that, and lots of sunlight. So if the area of the creek gets shade all the time, you're not likely to have the creek moss. Alright, so I had those sheets of creek moss algae, and there were some nice sheets that could probably be glued together with, say, for example, something like melted tree sap, or there's ways to glue it together or sew it together. I like the gluing concept because the creek algae is very fine fibers going in all directions. But as I was picking up those sheets, of course, there were pieces of algae that were pretty ragged with holes in them and whatever, and I picked up about a pile of it that's about the size of a single cow turd, and then I twisted this. Took maybe a couple hours to twist it into 8 or 9 feet of rope. Now, I wouldn't consider it strong rope, I wouldn't go rappelling with it, but it could be useful to weave it into something like I don't know, a blanket, a hat, something. What I did was I rinsed it out really well, took the, to get the dirt and the stain out of it, so it was pretty clean. And then I would tear it into strips, maybe that wide and as long as I could get them, and just twisted them. I did my stupid 3-strand twist, my standard 3-strand twist, and anyway, so this is the result of that. And it's one of the uses for creek moss algae.